Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hey, my name is Brittany and I talk all things beauty here on my channel. If you're not already subscribed, I do hope you will consider to subscribe before leaving today. I upload lots of new makeup content every single week, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a review on the brand new Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Rose Metals eyeshadow palette. It is so pretty. I know a lot of people, it's kind of like split. You either love the packaging or you're like, no. I happen to be one that really does love it. I think it is so beautiful, and this is what the inside of the palette looks like. If you love eyeshadow palettes, then please stick around and continue to watch this video. So I'm going to pop up a video here of this palette in sunlight, like natural light, how beautiful and sparkly it is, because I could show you it like right here, but it just doesn't do it justice. So I kind of wanted to show you that, and then we're going to do swatches, and then we're going to jump into the look. Here are those amazing swatches. I mean, this palette seriously swatched like a dream. Zero complaints at all. So a few facts about this palette. There are 12 shadows in here, and this beauty retails for $55. I just picked it up at Ulta. I just ran in there and got it. If you're curious on this size, it is the same size as the rest of the ABH palettes, except for, of course, the Primrose. This one's just a little bit bigger. So it's still the same size as the others. I just really like it whenever like all my palettes can just be stacked together and they're the same size. There's just something very aesthetically pleasing about that. But I'm so ready to dive in. I'm just taking the protective barrier off the mirror, and let's jump into the look. So for my transition, I was going to go in with the shade Ashes. It's like a really dusty, pretty transition color. Very cool tone. This palette, it's kind of split between cool tones and warm tones. In my opinion, whenever I saw this palette, my first thought was like an updated version of the Modern Renaissance. I'll hold those two up together to kind of show you some comparisons, but that's just kind of what I thought about whenever I saw this palette. It's a lot deeper on my eye than it is in the palette. I didn't know it would be this super deep, but we're taking it there. Next, to kind of help that blend out, I'm going to go in with Rose Quartz. It's like a little bit lighter version of that shade, and kind of see if we can kind of help it blend out a little. I feel like this palette came out of nowhere, and whenever all the pictures started circulating, the palette looked in the worst condition because it looked like it was a sampler palette, like a tester, and like the packaging was all dirty. It just like you could not get a good look. But I'm telling you, in person, it's a very pretty palette. I don't know why those pictures were just so awful, but in person it's definitely a really pretty palette. Those two shades aren't like a flat matte. They have a little bit of a satiny finish once you get it on your eyes, but they blended really well with one another. And I will say that the shade Ashes, it looks more of like dusty taupey color, but when I got it on my lid, it was super gray leaning. But Rose Quartz is a very pretty pink leaning on the eye, so I do like that. They kind of really work well with one another. So now for the lid, I'm going to go, and I kind of want to go in with the shade Haze. It looks more silver. I kind of want to play with that shade. It looks like it has some beautiful sparkles in there. This shade feels so soft. It feels really nice. A very cool tone. And I'm just going to pop that kind of like more on the outer corner, and then we'll go from there. That is such a pretty silver. For the inner corner, I'm going to go in with the shade Heavenly. This is like kind of like an ivory shade. It's not white, but it's not yellow. It's just kind of like right in the middle, and I'm going to put that on the inner corner. It's not like a champagne gold. It's more of like, I would say, ivory, if that makes sense. And oh, those two shades blend well with one another. I think they pair good with each other. I'm going to do the same thing over here. For the lower lash line, I want to run the shade Element on my lower lash line. This is kind of like a satin, and I'm going to mix that with the shade Royal, which is more pinky. This one is a little bronzy, and this one's more pink. And I'm just going to mix those two and put it on my lower lash line and see what we come up with. I like how This palette has a mixture of textures. You get mattes and shimmers and satins, and you also get more of like, I'm not going to say a shimmer matte, but it's not a flat matte. So definitely, I just love it when a palette gives you lots of different varieties. You get a lot to play with. And I'm just doing the same thing over here. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. I really love how this look came out. So I'm going to zoom you out and give you my thoughts on this palette. Okay guys, so it's no secret, I really love this palette. I did not think I was going to love it as much as I did once I started playing with it. The packaging is what really just sold me on it. I liked the color story, I loved the packaging, and I think it's just a fun palette. I just love like the mixed metals vibe. Like I said, whenever I saw this palette, my first thought, I was like, ooh, modern renaissance, but like updated, you know, and I'm gonna stick by that. Like, obviously they're not dupes in any way, but I don't know, they kind of remind me of each other a little bit. Just like the dusty, rosy, mauve tones in here with some of the more neutral tones to tie it together. I don't know, it just kind of made me think of modern renaissance, and this palette has a very special place in my heart, so it just made me like this one even more. But I do like how I'm seeing so much now palettes that have got cool tones and warm tones. I like that. I know not everyone does, but I love it because you just get so much more variety with your looks, and I really love how this palette goes super light to super deep. These shades appear deeper on your eyes than they appear on the pan. So I know you can see this and be like, oh, it doesn't really go that deep. But I'm telling you, once you put them on your eye and you build them up, they can get pretty deep. But yeah, I'm loving this palette. I'm so excited. So you'll have to let me know, did you pick up this palette? Are you planning to pick it up? Are you going to put it on your wish list for Christmas or something like that? But this is definitely a good one. And I like this palette way more than the quality of the Novio, whatever, this palette. This palette, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. The more I play with it, the formula is just kind of not it for me. It performs well, but it's not something that I'm just like, I'm looking at all my eyeshadow palettes, I'm like, ooh, I want to reach for this every time. Whereas I can see me reaching for this because I love the formula, whereas this other one, I was just like, no, it's just not it. It's fine. I know a lot of people love it. It's just, it didn't do the trick for me. But I'm going to kind of compare these. They have some similarities, but I think that if you like warm tones, stick with this one right here. If you're more of a cool tone lover, then get this one. But just swatch this one in person because the formula it wasn't my favorite as far as the shimmers go. The mattes were fine, but the shimmers, I was just like, I don't know about it. But this new one, I love it so much. And I just love the mixed metal vibe. Something else that I really like about this palette, I think that it is awesome that they added some warm tone mattes, and they added a cool tone matte, some deeper warm tones, and some deeper cool tones over here that you can play with. I really do adore that. And after swatching this palette, there are some unique tones in here that I don't have in my collection 100 times over, you know? I think that this grainy bronze is so beautiful. I don't know, this rose fire, and this shade Haze is my favorite in the palette. It is so unique. It's silver while still being wearable. It has a little bit of like a taupey bronze finish. I'm obsessed with this palette. I think it's just so pretty. And the literal perfect fall palette that's more subdued. For example, I think that the Nomad Cosmetics palette, the Hudson Valley palette, is straight up the perfect fall palette. But it's more vibrant in a way. If you're looking for the perfect fall subdued palette, oh, Rose Metals is your girl. I definitely wanted to point that out, that I think that this is an amazing fall palette. I'm obsessed. I'm so excited to continue to play with this, so let me know if you picked it up. I do hope you think that this review was helpful, but I'm going to wrap this up. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're doing well. I hope that you are healthy, happy, and safe. Stay beautiful. Bye, guys.